When Kentucky lawmakers approved sports betting, they set up the state's first problem gambling fund. It's meant to bring awareness and treatment to those who might have a gambling disorder. But as Kentucky Edition's June Leffler reports, advocates say more help is needed right now.
Boulware Mission in Owensboro, Kentucky is a residential program for men. Ronselyn Clark counsels these men on their drug and alcohol addictions, but she also screens for and educates them on gambling problems.
The brain doesn't see it really much differently as far as the dopamine it releases than it does with using different substances. So after that big win, however much that is, few hundred, few thousand, you go back because you want to chase that dopamine feeling. Didn't you want to go back and get some more meth? Yeah, you want to chase that dopamine feeling.
The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates just 1% of adults in the U.S. have developed a gambling disorder, and another 2 to 3% have a gambling problem. John Arnett developed a gambling disorder in his 50s.
I was extremely lucky the first year I gambled. And what I've learned from Gamblers Anonymous, that's the worst thing that can happen to someone. Because if you lose a lot when you begin, your interest will ebb right away, whereas if you win, your interest will peak.
And the consequences of problem gambling are arguably as devastating as those from a substance use disorder.
The least that you have to lose is money. The most you have to lose is reputation, livelihood, employment, freedom.
And more than that.
Of all the mental illnesses that are out there, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, gambling disorder has the highest rate of suicide. 1 in 5 individuals with a gambling problem will attempt or complete suicide.
Arnett eventually found help through Gamblers Anonymous in Kentucky.
And you draw strength from attending those sessions and discussing your issues with the people that are there.
Anyone with concerns can take a quick self-assessment online or call 1-800-GAMBLER, which is answered by counselors here in Kentucky 24/7.
The callers can be completely anonymous. We can offer, just listening support, general kind of trying to let the person vent or talk about whatever it is that they're experiencing. We can also provide them with tangible resources,
including contacts for 7 open Gamblers Anonymous groups and 7 active certified gambling counselors in the state. Since the advent of sports betting, calls to the hotline have increased.
So almost a 300% increase this month from last year this month. So December of 22 to 23, we've seen almost a threefold increase.
Sports betting isn't new, but legal online gaming is likely expanding how people bet.
I treated a guy one time who played at a major SEC school and became hurt and ended up really, his life took a downward spiral, and he was gambling quite a bit. He told me, he said, I bet on every down in every game. If you watch when we approach the Super Bowl soon, there will be so many different things you can bet on. Aside from the coin toss, who's going to win the coin toss? Who's going to be the starting quarterback? What their uniforms are going to look like? Who's going to score first? Who's going to make the most first downs? There's just so many different ways.
When state lawmakers approved sports betting, they also set up the state's first ever problem gambling fund. 2.5% of sports betting revenue is earmarked for this fund. That should total about $100,000 a month based on initial earnings. But that money won't be available for quite some time.
We don't anticipate that money will be available until well into 2024.
With contributions from the gaming industry, the Kentucky Council on Problem Gambling is using its resources to train more counselors.
We are trying to increase the number of certified gambler counselors because we anticipate a wave of problem gambling surfacing in 2024 with the advent of the sports betting in the state.
Mike Stone was recruiting at a regional counseling conference in the fall.
Is as much a geographic concern as it is a numerical concern. There's one counselor in Eastern Kentucky. There are 3 in Owensboro. There are 2 in Louisville. That means that there are none in Lexington, there's none in Northern Kentucky, there's none in Bowling Green, there's none in Paducah, there's, but there's gambling all over the state.
For Stone, this is a race against time. While the money from the state isn't coming anytime soon, sports betting is well underway and it's not slowing down. For Kentucky Edition, I'm June Leffler.
Again, the Problem Gambling helpline is 1-800-GAMBLER. Tomorrow we'll bring you a third story on sports betting and how college campuses are talking about it.